Hi guys, let's continue with biological molecules and let's start off with water. This is the last part of biological molecules. Okay, so water has a very simple structure, but this structure is a very unique one and it causes water to have many different important properties, and that's due to the polar nature and multidimensional hydrogen bonding. Now, let's first see the structure of water. We have an oxygen atom, two hydrogen atoms. They are covalently bonded like this. We have two lone pairs of oxygen. We have the partial negative charge on the oxygen atom, partial positive charges on the hydrogen atoms. This bond angle is 104.5 degrees, and we have a dipole due to difference in electronegativities of oxygen and hydrogen. Okay, and hence the polar nature. And also, since we have an oxygen atom bonded directly to a hydrogen atom, okay, so this causes hydrogen bonding, and so water can form hydrogen bonds, and one water molecule can bond to other water molecules through hydrogen bonds, okay, resulting in multidimensional hydrogen bonding. Okay, now let's see the first property. The first property is high solubility. Now, water acts as an ideal solvent storing different solutes in the body, example glucose, amino acids, and ions. Okay, simple. It also acts as an ideal transport medium in all life forms. Example, blood plasma in animals and xylem and phloem in plants. It also acts as a suitable medium for almost all chemical reactions. Okay. Example, enzyme catalyzed or enzyme controlled reactions. Okay, that happen in the body, metabolic reactions. Okay. So let's move on to the second property. It is the high heat capacity. Now, what basically is high heat capacity? It means that a very high amount of heat is required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Okay. Now, what's the significance of this? The significance of this is that it helps in temperature regulation. Okay, and in two ways. Okay, let's see the first way. Now, due to high heat capacity, large water bodies, example lakes, seas, oceans, etc., they have constant temperatures, okay, comparatively constant temperatures, helping in temperature regulation of all the aquatic life, okay, by providing a constant temperature surrounding habitat. Now, how a constant temperature? As we studied that water has a very high heat capacity. That means a very high amount of heat is required to raise the temperature of water. So there's not such heat available practically to raise the temperature of water of such large water bodies. So comparatively, the temperature remains constant, and this helps in the survival of the aquatic life. Now, the second thing is that the bodies of terrestrial life forms, okay, they contain 70 to 80% water, okay, and this helps in temperature regulation inside the body, because water inside cannot change temperature easily. As we know, it has a very high heat capacity, so it maintains a comparatively constant temperature, and this also helps in temperature regulation. Moving on, the third thing, it's high latent heat of vaporization. This thing basically means that a very high amount of energy is needed to transform water to water vapor. Okay, now what's the significance of this? The significance of this is again in temperature regulation. And how? Let's see. When water evaporates from the body's surface, it uses heat of the body, giving a cooling effect in the body. Okay, and this helps lowering down the high temperature, and the processes include sweating and panting in animals, okay, and transpiration in plants, okay, etc. Now, uh, how a cooling effect, because as we know that a very high amount of heat is required to to transform the water into a water vapor. So that means a very when the water evaporates from the body's surface, it takes with it a very high amount of body heat. So a very high amount of body heat goes away, okay, that decreases the average kinetic energy of the particles inside, okay, in the body, and lowering down the temperature of the body, hence giving a cooling effect. Okay, let's move on to the fourth point, that is high heat of fusion. And just like in vaporization, the difference is that this is for melting. So like from ice to water, ice to water, water to ice. Okay. Okay, now water maintains its liquid state even when the surrounding temperature is very low, and this again helps in survival of aquatic life forms, because even when this helps in very cold regions where we have temperatures falling down below 0 degrees, and in those areas water maintains its liquid state, and so it maintains its liquid state, and helps the aquatic life to survive, okay, to sustain even when the surrounding temperature is very low. This is important. Okay, moving on. The fifth property. Okay, it's high density and freezing properties. Now, water has a very unique property. Unlike almost all other liquids, the maximum density of water occurs at 4. Okay, um, why? Because of there's different arrangements of water and ice. Due to hydrogen bonding. Okay, ice has a fixed hexagonal rings, okay, and water continuously changes its rings. We don't need to go into that. Okay, so unlike other substances, the maximum density occurs at 4. Okay, so ice, that means ice is less dense than water. Now what's the significance? The significance of this is when the surrounding temperature is continuously extremely low, okay, water obviously starts to convert into ice form, okay, but due to its maximum density, due to the maximum density being at 4, ice is formed on the top layer first. Okay, now let me explain this. So what happens, okay, in other liquids is that since the maximum density occurs in the solid state, so when they freeze, okay, the solid thing that forms, that settles down, and because it's more denser. But there's a special case in water. Since ice is less dense than water, so it floats on the water, so hence the ice is formed on the top layer, okay, which then acts as an insulating layer. Okay, it prevents heat loss, saving the aquatic life below. Okay, this is very important. Okay, let's move on. Okay, another point is that variation in density of water at different temperature. Okay, this is also a property that at different temperatures we have different density of water. So this builds up water currents in ponds, lakes, etc., and this results in the circulation of gases and mineral ions. Okay, so it's like a properly circulated mechanism where it's properly distributed, everything is properly distributed due to this property of water. Okay, moving on, we have high cohesion and surface tension. Okay, now basically what's cohesion? These are strong forces of attraction between water molecules. Okay, so what happens? Water molecules remain stick together, okay, because they are attracted to each other, and this helps in continuous bulk flow, like they they flow in bulk, okay, in the xylem vessels in plants. Okay, and for the surface tension, now what happens is that the top layer of water has a relatively higher cohesion property. That means they attract, the water molecules on the surface attract each other more. Okay, so what happens? The water molecules show more compact arrangements. They are very close together at the surface. So many life forms take benefit of this, and especially insects, example pond skaters, and they move on the surface of water, okay, and use it as their living habitat. Okay, so this effectively creates habitat for many insects. Okay, moving on, water is also used as an important reagent, okay, in chemical reactions. Reagent meaning it's reactants. For example, in hydrolysis we add water, okay, we add water to break things basically, and we also use water in photosynthesis with carbon dioxide plus water, okay, to form glucose, etc. Okay, this is it for this video. With this we mark the end of biological molecules. We will meet in the next video. Till then, take care.